when you do something that you regret, the devil will keep bringing that up to you and get you to live in that moment. He'll keep bringing your past up to you because in that particular situation, he got the victory over you in that particular situation. So he will keep reminding you of that victory for him, which was a failure for you. And I know of people that things have happened to them that they dwell on them the rest of their life. I know of relationships to where crosswords or misunderstanding, miscommunication with one another has ruined relationship for the rest of the people's lives. I know in my own family several steps removed. It was actually my great aunts, and nobody knows what happened with them. But they got crosswise with one another, and I remember asking my grandmother. It was her sisters. I asked my grandmother what happened, what caused it. She said nobody knows. And they would not be around one another. If somebody in the family passed away, or somebody they lived in a small town, so both of them knew most everybody. They had lived there all of their lives, and they were pretty old, at the time this was happening that I was aware of. And like if they went to the funeral home, they made sure to find out when the other one was going to be there so they wouldn't see them. And they'd come in at some other time. They family members, they would not show up at the same time at the funeral. One of them would go to the visitation and the other one would go to the funeral service. And they were like that. They would not have anything to do with one another. Well, I bet if you boiled it all down, it was probably some little something that got between them that the devil just blew up and the thing got out of control. And it ruined that relationship for the rest of their lives. Don't let that happen to you. That's what we're talking about this morning. Those are things that don't need to be operating in our life. We need to move on from those things, moving past regret. Now, when you're looking at vision, and the reason we're talking about this is because this is a hindrance to you accomplishing or even processing or receiving vision if you're dwelling on regret. And I want to remind you of some definitions here. We a lot of times at the new year, everybody, when January 1st rolls around, everybody's going to make New Year's resolutions. Going to make resolutions. So what is a resolution? A resolution is a firm decision to do or not do something. It involves willpower. It is the quality of being determined or resolute. So when you make a resolution, the way that you are addressing that and the way that you are trying to change something in your life is purely by willpower. Now, some people can do that. Some people can exercise willpower in a particular area and can overcome it. But I would say this to you. It's very likely that you've tried this before. And whatever it was that kept you from getting the victory over it, something has hindered you where that's concerned with your willpower. Now, there are things that can change from year to year. There are some things, some habits that you have that can wind up producing a result that'll scare you. Now, that oftentimes causes people to change. It's like I heard one time that there's only two reasons that men go to doctors. One of them is because of pain. They can't stand the pain anymore. And number two is something scares them. And that's why, otherwise they don't want to. Well, that's not just men. Women are like that too. People don't typically like going to the doctor. But that's what happens, is something will scare you, and I've got to change. I've got to change this particular. So we try to attack that with willpower. That is a resolution. So you hear about that New Year's resolution. Vision, having vision in your life, is the faculty or state of being able to see. It's also the ability to think about or plan the future, and I love this part of the definition, and this is just out of Webster's dictionary. The ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. I like to say imagination and wisdom. So vision, when we're talking about vision, we're talking about utilizing several things. We're not just talking about willpower. We're just not talking about bulldog determination that gets you through something. Now, I'm not discounting that, but I'm talking about actually something that is beyond that and something that's greater than that. Vision, receiving vision, and I remember years ago, my little bitty wife, Beth, taught a really good sermon on vision, and she did a really good job on it. And one of the points that she brought out is that vision is just as much a part of our covenant as healing or prosperity, salvation. It's part of our, God desires to give us vision. Matter of fact, He's trying to give us vision. He has a plan for us, and He's trying to get that too. But what happens is we typically limit ourselves because we look at things, when we're looking at vision, we oftentimes look at vision according to our ability. And that's where the imagination comes in. You have to let your imagination run wild.